If you feel like you're slowly losing your sanity around someone, you're not weak. You're being trained. You're inhaling secondhand narcissism. No bruises, no scars, just a quiet rewrite of your reality until you start apologizing for breathing. And the scariest part? They call it love. People call it confidence gone wrong because that's comforting. It's not comfort, it's a feeding pattern. Narcissism is a broken identity with perfect marketing, a black hole that can't generate self-worth, so it steals yours. It doesn't love itself, it needs witnesses. If you're confused, exhausted, and constantly defending your reality, you're already inside the pattern. The clinical definition sounds sterile, a pattern of grandiosity, lack of empathy, chronic need for external validation, arrogance, and exploitative behavior. But here's what that means in real life. Brain fog, second-guessing, drafting messages like legal documents, replaying conversations like crime scenes, rehearsing conversations in the shower. That's not drama, that's conditioning. You'll question your own memory. You'll apologize for things you didn't do. You'll feel exhausted just being in the same room with them, and they'll feel fine. It's secondhand smoke for mental health. You are not the one with the disorder, but you're breathing it in every single day. Here's the part nobody tells you. NPD is diagnosed when their pattern causes impairment or distress in their life. If they're thriving while you're collapsing, the system often looks away. The DSM diagnoses dysfunction in the person, not the wreckage they leave behind. So yes, someone can break your mind, ruin your career, wreck your relationships, and still be not disordered because they're enjoying it. Convenient. Most narcissists never get diagnosed. They're too functional, too successful, too charming when it matters. And you're the one paying for therapy. Let's talk about the 5 types. Grandiose narcissists don't talk to you, they use you as an audience. Code: attention equals existence. You'll know them by how they hijack every conversation, how they turn your tragedy into their anecdote, how they need to be the smartest person in the room, even when they know nothing about the topic. They're not listening to you, they're waiting for their turn to perform. The hidden mechanism here is externalized self-worth regulation. They can't generate value from within, so they extract it from you, your admiration, your time, your focus. Result? You become invisible. Your experiences don't matter unless they can be reframed to center them. Narcissists don't build relationships, they build leverage. Here's the fastest test. Say no once and watch how quickly love turns into punishment. A healthy person negotiates, a narcissist retaliates. Malignant narcissists don't want admiration, they want control, and they're willing to burn you to get it. Code: people are tools. They lie pathologically, they manipulate and triangulate, they exploit without remorse, and worse, they enjoy it. This type overlaps with psychopathy and Machiavellianism. They don't just hurt you, they plan it. The impact here isn't just psychological, it's reputational. Sometimes it escalates. These are the ones who smear your name, sabotage your work, isolate you from support systems, and they sleep like babies. They don't argue to understand, they argue to overwrite. Covert narcissists weaponize sadness. They don't attack with rage, they attack with guilt. Rule: the world owes me recognition. They're hypersensitive to criticism, chronically wounded, always suffering, always misunderstood. They use guilt like a weapon and emotional withdrawal like punishment. You'll find yourself walking on eggshells, apologizing constantly. You'll spend months solving puzzles that were designed to stay unsolved, and you'll still be the villain in their story. They're often misdiagnosed with depression, But depression is about internal suffering. Covert narcissism is about externalizing that suffering onto everyone around them. Result, you lose your internal compass. You stop trusting your own perceptions. You become a support system for someone who will never support you back. If you're constantly explaining yourself, you're already losing. Communal narcissists don't want to help, they want to be seen helping. Rule, my moral image proves my superiority. They're the ones posting about charity work, performative altruism, public virtue signaling. They need recognition for every act of kindness. They don't help in silence, they help with a camera. But in private, low empathy, emotional cruelty toward the people closest to them. They'll fundraise for strangers and then tear you apart for asking for help. The impact here is moral confusion. You start doubting your own ethics because someone who seems good is treating you terribly. Benign narcissists are noisy, shiny, and shallow. They won't ruin your life on purpose, they'll just drain it by accident. Appearance equals value, superficial, materialistic, emotionally immature. They're annoying, but they're not systematically destructive. Think of them as background noise, frustrating, but not fatal. Where does it come from? A self-esteem system that never developed. They can't soothe themselves, so they outsource regulation to the room. Praise, control, status, fear, anything external, because inside it's empty. Developmental factors vary. Overpraise without merit, being told you're special but never being held accountable, excessive control or emotional neglect. Either extreme produces the same result, an identity that can't self-soothe. Cultural reinforcement of status and image. Social media didn't create narcissism, it industrialized it. And here's an uncomfortable stat. In diagnosed cases, it skews heavily male. Why? Socialization. Boys are taught to suppress emotions and derive worth from achievement and dominance. It's a blueprint for narcissism. Reality. Narcissism can be functional, high motivation, initial charm, confidence in leadership contexts. That's why you find them as executives, public figures, high-status professionals. The system rewards them. Until it doesn't, because the same traits that make them successful make them toxic. In personal relationships, no empathy, superficial intimacy, infidelity, gaslighting. You're not a partner, you're a prop in their performance. In professional settings, credit stealing, intimidation, toxic work environments. You're not a colleague, you're competition or a resource. Cold math. In a group of 100 people, 6 to 10 have extreme narcissistic traits. About 1 meets full NPD criteria. So if you think you rarely meet them, you're just not detecting them. The emotional effects are predictable: self-doubt, anxiety, hypervigilance, identity erosion. The mechanisms they use? Gaslighting, making you question reality. Intermittent reinforcement, random kindness that keeps you hooked. Fear-based compliance. You modify your behavior to avoid their reactions. This isn't weakness. This is your nervous system responding to a threat it can't fight or flee from. Hire slow, fire fast. Document everything, because narcissists don't fear morality, they fear evidence. Give controlled credit, not worship, because praise is their currency and you're the ATM. Apply consistent consequences. They respect boundaries only when enforced. Do not negotiate with someone who isn't loyal to reality. Boundaries aren't conversations, they're doors, and some doors stay locked. Recognize patterns early. Trust your gut when something feels off. Set non-negotiable boundaries and prepare to enforce them. Do not expect empathy. You're hoping for something they cannot provide. Exit relationships if safety or sanity is at risk. Treatment difficulty is high. Why? Lack of insight, defensiveness. The very traits that define narcissism prevent them from recognizing they need help. Common comorbidities include substance abuse, depression, bipolar disorder. Often those are what bring them to treatment, not the narcissism itself. Possibility of change? Rare, and contingent on genuine subjective suffering. The reality? There is no simple cure. Management focuses on harm reduction, not transformation. Most will never change because change requires admitting you're wrong, and narcissism is an entire identity built on being right. You are not crazy. You're reacting normally to an abnormal personality structure. Don't try to change a narcissist. Change access, change exposure, change what you tolerate. Starve the pattern.